Batteries fully charged. Launch ready for WWE Aftershock in 3, 2, 1. World Wrestling Entertainment Discussion is live. Cue host Owen Finch.
Welcome everyone to WWE Aftershock, week 41. I'm going to get the show done as fast as possible because I'm really tired tonight. It's been a lot of stuff going on this weekend, so I'm just going to do this as quick as I possibly can and get it done. Not going to be covering NXT for this week because if you saw the AEW Spark Aftershock crossover, it's already been covered there, so we're just going to get right into this video. We're going to start with Fastlane. I didn't take any notes on Fastlane because I had a friend over and I wanted to spend time just chilling with him and didn't want to focus on taking notes or anything like that. And I was anticipating that Chris Daw would be able to be here. But that wasn't the case, so I'm doing the solo, so I'm just going to do Fastlane from memory. I remember pretty much everything that happened on it. We didn't do an extra for it just because I wouldn't have been able to do it anyways until like Tuesday or something. And Raw had already happened, and I already saw it, so there was no point in doing it. I figured I'd just include them all together. So, yeah, Fastlane took place. We had the pre-show, we had the panel of Caleb Braxton, Jackie Redmond, Booker T, Wade Barrett, and Peter Rosenberg. Obviously, I don't love all these people on the panel. I don't mind. Well, let me explain that a little bit more. I don't mind them being on the panel, but I just don't think... I think you have too many people on the panel. I thought this was one of the better outings that they've had, but I still think we have too many people. I think it should just be 3 people strictly on the panel. It should be, Wade Barrett, Caleb Braxton, and Peter Rosenberg. I think that's a good panel right there. If you wanted to switch it off and do Booker T, Jackie Redmond, and Peter Rosenberg on some shows, fine, but I think we have too many people on the panel. But this was one of the better outings that they've had. They just kind of broke down the pay-per-view matches, and all that type of stuff. There was some interviews on the panel. Rey Mysterio and the LWO did a backstage segment where they pretty much said that Rey's partner promised him that they'd be there, and then there was one with Paul Heyman being interviewed by Byron Saxton, where he talked about the Bloodline were going to win since they're a family, while Cena and Knight are just a thrown together tag team. So that was kind of everything that happened on the panel. Then we had the opening. We had the actual show itself. But yeah, we had the actual show itself. Yeah, it was Michael Cole and Corey Graves on commentary, which is the commentary for all the PLEs. It kicked off with the undisputed WWE Tag Team title match. It was Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso challenging Finn Balor and Damian Priest. I really liked this match. I thought it was great stuff. Both teams really went at it with each other. They dominated Jey for a while, and then eventually Cody got the hot tag. And crowd went nuts for Cody. Crowd went nuts for Jey. Eventually, after some very back and forth action here, JD McDonough tries to run interference and Dominic Mysterio, but JD's interference backfires. He inadvertently hits Damian Priest in the knee with Damian Priest's Money in the Bank briefcase, and Cody lays him up with crossroads on the announcer's table, followed by a super kick by Jey Uso, and then they did this move where they did like a 1D Cody Cutter combination to Finn Balor, followed by a crossroads on Balor. And Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso became the new WWE Undisputed Tag Team Champions. I liked the match a lot. I'd give it like 4.5 stars. I thought it was very back and forth, and just both teams really went at it, and I didn't expect the results. And I definitely would recommend checking out the press conference where Cody and Jey were on. It was a wild time. Then we had the 6-man tag. It was the LWO, represented by Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar, and a mystery partner versus Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. Pretty solid 6-man tag here. They dominated both guys for a while, where and both babyfaces tried to fight him off because the partner didn't come out right away. And then eventually Carlito did make a surprise appearance, and he ended up pinning Montez Ford with a backstabber, and that was pretty much it. I liked this though. I thought it was really good. I'll give it like 3.5. I don't know if they should have had Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits lose, since this was the first match as a unit, but it was Carlito's first match back, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword there. And, you can't really put in a mystery partner if they're not going to win. So, then it was the women's triple threat match. It was Charlotte Flair versus Asuka versus Io Sky for the women's championship. Io Sky was defending the title. They did a backstage segment with Damage Control where Io Sky asked Bayley not to interfere. And this match was great. I thought all these women really put it all on the line. Earlier in the show, on the kickoff, this is one thing I forgot. It showed Jade Cargill arrive, and this was her first on-screen appearance in WWE. She didn't do anything on the show, though. But yeah, eventually Bayley does run out, and during this, she distracts the referee when Charlotte Flair has Io Sky tapping out to the figure 8, which doesn't really make sense that Bayley couldn't interfere because it's a triple threat. It's supposed to be no DQs. And then, following this, behind the ref's back, Io Sky attacked her, and she did the moonsault for the win, and she retained the title. So, great match here. I'll give it like 4 stars. All these women really put it all on the line. They did a bit where Asuka sprayed mist into Charlotte Flair's face, like right in the beginning. I thought that was great. So, and then we had the semi-main event. It was the tag match: LA Knight and John Cena versus Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. Good tag match here. Jimmy and Solo dominated Cena, and then eventually he made the hot tag to LA Knight, and after some moves, LA Knight beats Jimmy with a blood force trauma. And yeah, they really gave a lot to LA Knight here. He took a good bulk of the offense on everybody and stuff, so they really put over LA Knight. He got the winning pinfall at the end of the day, so it was good stuff there. I mean, obviously this doesn't help Jimmy Uso's turn at all, but whatever. I'll give this 3 stars. It was good stuff. Then the main event was the last man standing match for the World Heavyweight Championship. It was Seth freaking Rollins defending against Shinsuke Nakamura. This was great. I really thought this was a great last man standing match here. Both guys really used the stipulation to their advantage. They used a lot of weapons, and there was just a ton of carnage out there. Eventually, Rollins hit a Falcon Arrow on the Nakamura, and he hit it on like a bunch of equipment boxes that were in the crowd. So I liked that. Great finish. Rollins retained. He just barely got up to. But there was a lot of carnage in this match. They did a thing where Rollins took a fall like onto clearly a crash pad, but it was meant to be like off the crowd onto the floor. He got misted and sent to the announcer's table. Like these guys really killed each other in this match, and I thought it was great. And they didn't have Damian Priest cash in. He wanted to. They did a thing, and they did a segment right before this with Judgment Day were backstage, and Rhea Ripley talked him out of cashing in because his leg was injured and everything like that. So I love the last man standing match though. I'll give that like 4 3/4 stars. It wasn't quite 5. I think took a little bit to get going, but yeah, this was great stuff. Fastlane I thought was really an awesome show. I'll give it like a B+. I do wonder if they maybe should have added another match because it seemed like it went quick, but I don't know. I feel like I can't complain about it because I just watched AEW Wrestle Dream a week before this, and I was there forever, and it felt like I watched Fastlane and no problem. So let's go through Raw. This was the pre-ultimate edition of Raw before the season premiere that's coming up. I don't know what date it took place on because it says here it's October 9th. Actually, I think it was October 9th, actually, because Fastlane was October 7th. We had the commentary team of Wade Barrett and Michael Cole. Seth Rollins came out. He celebrated retaining his title and looked forward to the next challenge. And he was but first he just wanted to take it easy. Drew McIntyre comes out, and Rollins realizes he's not out there to party with him. He wants to challenge him for the title, which Drew challenges him, and Seth accepts the challenge. And he was originally going to want to do it on Raw, but Drew wants to do it when Seth is fully healthy. So they make the match official for Crown Jewel, which is going to be taking place on November 4th. Afterwards, they leave and stuff. And then eventually Damian Priest attacks Seth Rollins from behind. He beats him up, but Drew just watches this happen. And Dominic Mysterio is about to cash in he sends in the briefcase so Damian Priest can cash in, but Drew stops him. He headbutts Storm. He throws the briefcase halfway across the arena, and this allows Seth Rollins enough time to recover and lay out Damian Priest with a super kick, and he sends Damian Priest packing. But the big story they told here was that Drew McIntyre didn't step in and save Seth until it benefited him, pretty much. And they told that story later backstage where Seth kind of confronted him about it, but Drew kind of explained that. And Judgment Day had JD McDonough pinned up against the corner, and Damian Priest was ready to kick JD McDonough's ass, but she talked him out of it, and Rhea talked him out of it and everything like that. And Finn said they were going to make it up to him because JD was going to take out Drew. So that led to that match where Drew won fairly easily. I kind of wish, JD could have gotten a little bit more offense in, but it wasn't the case. And, they made Drew look pretty strong going into his world title match. But, they're still kind of continuing the Drew McIntyre heel turn. So I'm not sure what's going to happen at Crown Jewel. I can imagine maybe that once the match is finished, I think Seth will retain. Maybe he'll retain with a roll-up or something. Drew will snap and turn heel and maybe cost Seth, and that's how Damian Priest will cash in ultimately. So, we'll see what happens. But that's kind of what took place with Judgment Day and the World Heavyweight title situation throughout the show. Also on this show, we had a Viking Rules match between Kofi Kingston and Ivar. It was great stuff, very back and forth. Eventually, Ivar did win with the moonsault, but yeah, they really killed each other. I like these Viking Rules matches, and Ivar needed to win this because if the reports are true about him being pushed, he needs to just win. So this is a good start to that. Then Shinsuke Nakamura got interviewed. Byron Saxton was trying to ask him, what's next for him in his career now that he lost the World Heavyweight title match and everything. But he didn't really answer. And then Ricochet attacks him, and they brawl, and, it has to get broken up. And throughout the night, they advertised this triple threat number one contenders match coming up for the Intercontinental title between Big Bronson Reed, Chad Gable, and Ricochet. They did a segment backstage with Bronson Reed and Chad Gable and Alpha Academy and stuff, where Bronson Reed talked about how they're just stepping stones to get to his title match and everything. And then we had the triple threat match before the match started. Nakamura attacked Ricochet and weakened him enough where he couldn't really do much in the triple threat match. He still tried to do the best he could. The triple threat match was awesome. Chad Gable was the standout in the triple threat match, but eventually Bronson Reed beats Ricochet with the tsunami, which made sense that Ricochet took the loss since he had been attacked beforehand, so they still had protected him in defeat. So on the Raw season premiere, we're going to have Walter defend the Intercontinental Championship against Big Bronson Reed, which I'm really looking forward to that match. I think that's going to be awesome. Doing this, then Ricochet, was backstage, and Adam Pearce came up and said that he's been, that Shinsuke Nakamura has been ejected from the building. So Ricochet wanted a match with Nakamura, and Adam Pearce granted it, and it's going to be on the season premiere of Raw, and it's going to be a Falls Count Anywhere match. And then doing this, you saw in the background, Rhea Ripley was talking to Drew McIntyre, and, something could come of that, so we'll see. So I liked everything they did with Ricochet and Nakamura and the IC title and everything like that. That was good. Raquel Rodriguez faced Nia Jax. It was an adequate match, I guess, mainly because of Raquel Rodriguez. Eventually, Rhea Ripley interfered and caused a DQ, and Eventually, Shayna Baszler came out and she laid out Rhea Ripley. And later in the night, Rhea Ripley went to Adam Pearce and requested a match with Shayna Baszler, and that's going to take place on the season premiere of Raw. That would be a cool match, considering the fact, that they haven't faced off since the NXT days. And the roles are switched now, where Shayna's the face and now Rhea's the heel, so I'm looking forward to that. Then, Becky Lynch got interviewed. She talked about how she's looking forward to an NXT title match. Tegan Nox came up, and they kind of talked back and forth. And Xia Li was wondering when she's going to get her opportunity, and, Becky said that Xia has to step up. Tegan Nox has a nice little video package hyping her up for the title match. Natalya comes up and wishes her luck later on. And then we have the NXT title match, which was really good stuff. Eventually, Becky does win with the manhandle slam, but afterwards, not the manhandle slam, she beat her with the disarmer. She made a tap to that. And afterwards, they shake hands, but Tegan Nox is upset. And backstage, Katana Chance and what's the other girl? Kaden Carter console her, and Chelsea Green and Piper Niven come up and made fun of her. And then Natalya stands up for her, and it leads to Piper Niven challenging Natalya to a match next week on the season premiere of Monday Night Raw. So it looks like they're going to make a makeshift tag team with Tegan Nox and Natalya now. And it looks like Tegan Nox may be going heel. I'm not sure. But, we'll see. And then they did a vignette for Marcel Bartel to hype him up, which is cool. I hope they do one to Fabian Eichner, because I think if they don't do one for him, I'll be kind of concerned about the future of Imperium right there. And they did an interview with Wade Barrett, where he interviewed DIY, where they talked about being a team again and everything like that. And then they led to them getting attacked by Eichner and Bartel. And, yeah, they just laid him out. And, yeah, it was good stuff. Good way to continue that. And then the main event, really, of Raw, the main storyline was what was going on with the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championships. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso had the first promo together, and Michael Cole interviewed them. And Michael Cole was being kind of a bit of a dick during this interview. He was asking Cody about finishing the story and if he was too afraid to finish the story. But before Cody could really answer, they get interrupted by Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and there was a screw-up here. They played Sami Zayn's old heel theme song that he had, right before he went back to the one he has now doing Montreal weekend in February and everything like that. And Sami and KO come out, and Sami talks about how happy he is for Cody and Jay, but he talks about how him and Kevin never got a fair rematch for the Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. So they asked for one, and Kevin Owens, he's the opposite. He said that he thinks it's unfair and a bunch of crap, so he wants to take it. And basically Cody and Jay accept for the main event of Raw. And Jey Uso was backstage later on, and Drew comes up and basically tells Jay that he still doesn't trust him. And basically Sami had to come up and basically let cooler heads prevail, because Jay and Drew would have gone into it. And obviously this was a big thing, because had Sami probably let this happen, they would have had Sami and KO would have had an easier path winning the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championships. And then later in the show, in the main event, it was a fantastic tag title match. I really loved it a lot. I was wondering why they didn't just save this for a future PLE or something, but you do kind of find out why this is the case on SmackDown, I guess. Yeah, just a very chaotic, very great match. Cody and Jay retain the titles, and because of this now, they're going to go on to face the Judgment Day, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, in a rematch for the titles on the season premiere episode of Raw. So, yeah, that was great. The season premiere episode of Raw is looking really loaded. I'm really liking that a lot. But overall, this was a fantastic episode of Raw. I'm going to give it an A-. I thought everything really clicked for Raw for the most part this week. Everything was furthered, and there's going to be a reason for that, but I really liked Raw. I probably was a little tired of doing Raw too, so I might have liked it more. Maybe I liked it more because of that, because I wasn't as critical of it, but yeah, overall a really solid episode of Raw. Continuing, we're going to go to main event now. Main event only had a couple matches. You can definitely tell the structure of main events changed now, because it's kind of back to what it was last year, where it would be about getting the NXT guys over, because there was a main roster person versus an NXT person in both these matches. The first one was Kiana James versus Nikki Cross, And for commentary for main event, by the way, it was Byron Saxton and Wade Barrett. But yeah, and for commentary for Raw, it was Michael Cole and Wade Barrett. I didn't mention that. But yeah, yeah, this match was good. Nikki Cross really carried it, but you know it was good stuff. Still, Nikki Cross won with the purge. But yeah, they gave Kiana James a nice near fall where she nearly won with the 4-1K, so that was good. And then the main event was Axiom versus Akira Tozawa. This was great, very back and forth match. This one really could have gone either way, just because they don't really push Tozawa that much, and Axiom beating him wouldn't hurt him all that much. But you know, it really could have gone either way. But Tozawa won with the senton. But yeah, it was a really great match. They gave Axiom a really great near fall. So I thought this was a good episode of main event. I'll give it a B-. You had 2 good matches on it, and that's all you could ask for. Then we had the bump, which aired on October, I think it was October 9th? Maybe no, it would have been October 10th. Let me think. Well, SmackDown was the 13th, so it would have been October 11th, I think, because Thursday was October 12th. Good episode of the bump. It was hosted by Megan Morant, Matt Camp, and Ryan Popola. They did a cold open where Megan Morant was walking around the headquarters, and she spotted Damian Priest's Money in the Bank briefcase and tried to take it, but Damian Priest wouldn't allow that. So then they went in. They kind of broke down what happened on NXT and Fastlane. And then Damian Priest got interviewed. He talked about the Money in the Bank briefcase. He talked about his strategy of cashing it in. He talked about the status of Judgment Day and the status of the deal with the Bloodline into Judgment Day. So he didn't really say anything new that he hasn't said before. Dirty Dominic Mysterio came on the screen and, you know, kind of said a lot of the same things that, you know, nothing really new that he didn't say before. And then they brought in Sam Roberts, and he broke down the Fastlane pay-per-view that just happened. It was really funny because Damian Priest was in studio and he was too afraid to really bash Judgment Day, so he was kind of taking their side for a lot of stuff. So good stuff. I liked the bump though. I'll give the bump like a solid B. I think I could have done without the Sam Roberts part of it. I think that, like, I feel like there was no need for a Fastlane talk. They talked about Fastlane at the Fastlane post run, but whatever. Then I'll cover Level Up now. This one I do have to actually look at my notes for because there was 2 new people on it. So Level Up took place on October 13th, 2023. It was commentated by Byron Saxton and Blake Howard. We had Kaya Saint versus Ivy Nile. Solid match here. I thought Kaya Saint showcased herself fairly well. I don't know why they didn't put her in the breakout tournament, but maybe she just signed recently, so that's why. But Ivy Nile won with the Dragon Sleeper, but, you know, she did this really good transition getting out of it, so I thought that was nice. And then the main event's Riley Osborne versus Axiom. This match was very good. I'm really liking Riley Osborne. They just recently announced the men's Dusty Rhodes. No, well, they didn't announce those too, but the men's breakout tournament, and I think he should be the one that wins it just because of his impressive performances lately on Level Up. But eventually they do a bit where he's outside the ring. He nearly doesn't beat the count, but he beats it at the last second, and then he gets a splash from Axiom and gets the pin that way. It was kind of controversial because it didn't look like it was a 3 count, but the replay showed that it was. But yeah, I didn't like the finish too much, but I still thought the match was good enough. So good episode of Level Up. I'll give that like a B-. It's relatively good stuff. They did do an interview with Axiom backstage. That was good too, so that kind of affects the grade. Then we had SmackDown. This was the season premiere of SmackDown. We had some exclusive. It's sort of video package showing everything that Pretty Deadly has done since, you know, they've been out of action and everything like that. And then Roman Reigns, they did like a preview where they talked about everything that could potentially happen. And then Pete Dunne did an interview where we talked about, you know, how the Brawling Brutes are going to hurt Pretty Deadly. Then we had the show. We had the commentary team of Corey Graves, Michael Cole, and Kevin Patrick. John Cena comes out. He talks about being back and welcomes everyone to the season premiere of SmackDown. And then Roman Reigns comes out. he talks about how the only reason John Cena's there is to fill the void that Roman Reigns left when he was gone. I want to make sure, by the way, before I get too far into this, because I've had a few issues where my audio didn't record, so I want to make sure that's still recorded. Hello! Okay, so it's still recording. I just want to make sure, because like I had an issue recently when I did Spoke when my audio didn't record, and I just don't want to do this again. So I'm just going to leave this in. But yeah, so Roman Reigns comes out, and yeah, it says that John Cena's filling the void that Roman Reigns left when... Well, what Roman Reigns left, yeah, when he, took his departure. And he talks about how he's wondering if they're going to have to deal with the John Cena problem again. And then John Cena says that he actually acknowledges Roman Reigns for the amount of time he's held the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. And he said that he's not going to challenge Roman Reigns because he hasn't earned it, but he knows somebody who has, which brings out LA Knight. LA Knight and Roman Reigns do a really good promo back and forth with each other. You really have to go watch it for yourself. But I like that they didn't go full on into it. They, left enough where, like, you would want more. And Jimmy Uso tried to attack LA Knight from behind, but he fights him off. And then LA Knight and Roman Reigns have a face-to-face segment, but Roman Reigns backs down. And he tells Solo that, they should forget about Cena, focus on the LA Knight problem. So Solo gets on the apron and challenges LA Knight to a match on SmackDown. We get that match later in the show, and LA Knight wins, even after, Cena tried to interfere, and Solo laid him out and everything like that. Eventually, LA Knight won, but he gets speared by Roman Reigns after the match. But the match between LA Knight and LA Knight and Solo Sikoa was really good. I give it 3.5 stars. I like the fact that they're going to give LA Knight a title match. I know he's probably not going to win the Undisputed Universal Championship, but I like the fact that LA Knight's finally got to this point, and I think they can do enough where if he has a good enough performance and things like that, that I think it's not going to hurt him all that much if he loses. I actually think it could do him some good, but we'll see. Because think about it, this wasn't even a possibility like a year ago. I think it was like I think I saw somewhere it was like this time, like last week on Friday and stuff, where like he just became LA Knight again after being Max Dupree and everything like that. So I think, the fact that he's even at this point is really cool. Maybe if he has a really good performance, it's going to do enough to keep him in the title picture. So I like this a lot. They did do some segments backstage with the Bloodline where Jimmy Uso is trying to get back into the good graces of Roman Reigns, where, Jimmy's calling himself the quarterback now and things like that, and Roman's not happy that Cody and Jay have the tag titles, but Jimmy and Solo don't, so they did a segment where after Cody and Jay retained the tag titles against Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, which was a really good match, by the way. I give that like 3.5 stars. They had a face-off with the Bloodline. It was the first time that Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns had a face-to-face segment since the night after WrestleMania. Well, the Raw after WrestleMania. So that was cool. So, as of right now, it's looking like that the plan's going to be Cody at WrestleMania, which I think is a necessary step. So, I'm hoping that's the case. But yeah, I don't love what's going on with this Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Bloodline stuff. I think this is kind of like the biggest blunder of the Bloodline storyline, in my opinion. It's not connecting. I thought once Roman Reigns came back, it was going to get better, but I don't like it. Again, it's most of the same reasons, but it's just really odd. It really doesn't follow continuity. It didn't make sense. Roman Reigns didn't even mention the Fastlane loss, and that was supposed to be the big hook of SmackDown this week. It's once he came back, like, what was his reaction going to be? And he just kind of blew it off type of thing. So, I didn't like that. Other things that happened on SmackDown, they did a segment with Carlito where we got interviewed, and Bobby Lashley welcomed him back, and Carlito challenged him to a match, but it doesn't happen because the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley beat him down, and it leads to Zelina Vega getting put in a match with Bayley because Bayley comes up and is being kind of rude to everybody. And then we get that match, and Bayley wins that match with a Rose Plant, but afterwards Charlotte Flair runs out to make the save, so that was cool. And then the Brawling Brutes faced Pretty Deadly. They did a segment where, they did a thing at the finish where Elton Prince acted like he was hurt again, but it was all of a setup. Pretty Deadly won, and that was it. I didn't mind the finish. It just took a long time for them to finally get to where they needed to get to, but overall, the idea was good. I just think they should have jumped to it a little quicker. Those matches, by the way, the Pretty Deadly Brawly Brutes match was good. It was 3 stars. Bailey versus Zelina Vega was good. That was 3 stars. It was really the last of the matches of the show. Then Triple H comes out to make an announcement, and he announces that Adam Pearce has been given a promotion. He's now going to be the general manager of Raw, and that means SmackDown needs a general manager. But before he can grant it, Dominic Mysterio comes out. They do some things with him. He's upset, obviously, that Cody and Jay were defending the tag titles before the Judgment Day got their rematch. And this brings out the new SmackDown general manager, and it's none other than Nick Aldis, which I didn't expect. Nick Aldis signed a contract a while back. He was an agent originally, but now he's going to be the SmackDown general manager. I assume he'll still be an agent, obviously, but yeah, I'm happy that Nick Aldis is now the SmackDown general manager. And somebody did post a thing a while ago where they mentioned that both the general managers on Raw and SmackDown are former NWA World Champions, which I think is just really cool. And I just kind of still can't believe that Nick Aldis is in a WWE win. This was the same guy that didn't want to go anywhere else. So he just wanted to stay in NWA and grow that brand. And now he's in the biggest company in the world. I think in the span of less than a year, he's been in 3 wrestling companies, which doesn't happen a whole lot. But he announces... he does a funny bit where he mentions to Dom that he's a big fan of his, and then when he shakes his hand, he says, "I'm your father," which was funny. And he announces that, he reveals the person that was traded for Jey Uso to go to Raw, the person that's coming to SmackDown now, and it ends up being Kevin Owens, which is huge. It was really surprising. I thought it would be Cody, but I guess they wanted to do a swerve. It's just going to be complicated now, because obviously that was going to be the way I think Cody would have been able to finish the story. But we'll see what happens there. He comes out and stuns Dominic Mysterio. I mean, it doesn't make sense they announced this trade. It's supposed to be a big deal, but the guy that he came out and attacked was a guy on Raw who shouldn't even be on SmackDown, so that was just weird. But, yeah, this puts an end to the Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens tag team. So it will be interesting to see how Sami Zayn reacts to that on Raw, because that's the whole... Because, now he just lost his partner now and all that stuff, so... It'll be interesting to see what Sami Zayn does. But I liked this. Roman Reigns wasn't happy about this, but... Yeah, there's a lot I guess Kevin Owens could do on SmackDown. I guess the team of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens couldn't last forever. I don't think it necessarily ran its course, but I guess there was just nothing... If they're not going to be the champs, there was really nothing more they could have done, I guess. There's a lot Kevin Owens can do on SmackDown. He could feud with, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, that faction there. He could feud with Austin Theory. He could feud with Grayson Waller. Yeah. I guess he's going to fill the void since Edge isn't on SmackDown anymore either. So they need to kind of fill that void. So, yeah. And again, he could go heel and feud with all the baby faces and stuff like that. So, and he still's got to deal with Jey Uso, so that'll be interesting. And was that really the last? There was some other quick things. They did a vignette for Dragon Lee, and then they did a segment where Nick Aldis made a women's championship match between Io Sky and Charlotte Flair for next week. And then they did a segment where Charlotte Flair got introduced to Jade Cargill, and this was Jade Cargill's first thing. So that was good. And then that was pretty much SmackDown. I like SmackDown. I'll give that like a B+. Maybe an A-. I'll go A-, I guess. Maybe B+, just barely missing an A-, actually. The thing that hurts SmackDown the most is what they're kind of doing with Jimmy Uso right now. It's just not connecting. But everything else I liked a lot. And yeah, that's pretty much everything. Let me do the quick predictions. We announced the matches for NXT. We don't need to do that, but the matches for Raw and SmackDown. The season premiere of Raw, we're going to have Walter defend the Intercontinental title against Big Bronson Reed. I think this is going to be an awesome match, but I don't think Walter is losing the title. I think Walter's going to keep the title, but I think Bronson Reed will have a really great showing. I think he's going to, take at least 2 power bombs and a splash. I think that would kind of be the ultimate finisher there. We're gonna have also Natalya versus Piper Niven. I could see Natalya winning this. I could see her winning via roll-up or something, too. I don't think she'll lock on the sharpshooter, but I could see Natalya winning that. We're also going to have Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler. I think Rhea would win via outside interference, whether that's Nia Jax or just Dominic Mysterio. I think Rhea's going to get a cheap victory over Shayna, but not take a loss. I think this is setting up a 4-way match to happen, either at Crown Jewel or some other time. Then we're going to have the tag title match. It's going to be Cody and Jay versus Judgment Day, which is going to be Finn Balor and Damian Priest. And I think they're going to give it to Cody and Jay. I think the big match they want to do at Saudi is Cody and Jay versus Solo and Jimmy. And I think that makes sense to do that. So I think they should keep the titles here. Then on SmackDown, we have a few things announced. We're going to have Charlotte Flair versus Io Sky for the women's title. I think Io Sky retains. I think they'll do an outside interference, and I think maybe Jade Cargill will interfere. Maybe they're going to finally try to get her in the mix. I'm really not sure. But yeah, overall, that should be good stuff. Yeah, that's everything kind of like prediction-wise. I can't really think. There's nothing else on SmackDown that I can think of. Some news things to announce. Earlier in the week, they announced that Triple H now has 99.9% control of WWE Creative. Ariel Emanuel, I think his name is. You have to look him up. It's been a long week. Appointed that, which was a surprise because he's been very close with Vince. Vince has like 0.01% input in creative, but everything's going to be Triple H's show, and you can definitely tell that's been the case the past couple of weeks with how the shows have been booked and everything like that. So I think everybody's happy about that. Other news things, Ronda Rousey's retired from both WWE and MMA. She did like a big post this week. I haven't been able to see it yet, but I just know it happened. Yeah. I'm really not shocked about this. I figured that Ronda Rousey's just pretty much done. I think Ronda Rousey's star power was over. I think her second run in WWE is what ruined her star power. So I'm happy that, Ronda Rousey is, kind of retired now. I don't know what she's going to do now, but we'll see. Maybe she'll just be a mom. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Maybe she'll go back into acting. Who knows? Another big news thing is Logan Paul just challenged Rey Mysterio for the United States title after his boxing fight. He got interviewed about it after his victory and everything like that, and he called out Rey Mysterio during that interview. And it's not confirmed yet. We don't know when the match is going to happen. I imagine it'll be Crown Jewel, but yeah, this will be interesting. Obviously they have a history from Logan Paul's first match in WWE when it was Logan Paul and The Miz versus the Mysterios at WrestleMania. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with this. This did kind of come out of nowhere because they weren't feuding or anything like that, but I think it makes sense. They may get some gold now in the Logan Paul, and I think it's time he has some championship gold. I mean, it would suck because 2 titles would be off of SmackDown. Like, there'd be no belts for them to fight for, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that match. Logan Paul and Rey Mysterio, I think, could put on a fun match. It makes sense to do that match, and I like the fact, that Logan Paul announced an unboxing where different eyeballs are there. Rey Mysterio, I think, is known well enough because of his name value, and he's been in the business for so long. I think a lot of people, casual fans and fans, know that name, Rey Mysterio, so, I'm happy about that. Nothing else I can think of that, has really been news breaking, really, in WWE and things like that. I think that's mainly the main 3 things, So, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Oh, there was one more news thing, by the way. We did find out, by the way, and I have one more prediction. So, we found out recently that Bray Wyatt's WrestleMania match was supposed to be against Karrion Kross. He was on Chris Van Vliet's interview where they kind of talked about it. They talked about how they were piecing it together, and then obviously what happened. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Wonder what would have happened. That would have been pretty interesting, which kind of explains why Karrion Kross has been kind of lately. So, other thing is Roman Reigns worked a couple of house shows this weekend in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I think. And yeah, that's cool. I think this is the second, maybe the third set of house shows he's done, because he did one in Canada where he faced Sammy for the belt, and then he did one in Mexico where he faced Ray for the title, and now he just did one. I think he didn't defend the title, but he did like a 6-man tag. I think it was him, Jimmy, and Solo versus LA Knight, Sammy, and probably KO or something. So, and they're teasing that LA Knight feud, so it looks like that's definitely going to be, Roman's next title feud. And there was another prediction on Raw I forgot to mention, and that's that Falls Count Anywhere match between Shinsuke Nakamura and Ricochet. This is really a tough one to predict because they both need a victory, because Ricochet, needs to kind of get some revenge for being taken out by Nakamura, but also Nakamura needs a big win after he just lost the world title match. So I'll say Nakamura wins. I think they can kind of protect him in defeat because it is Falls Count Anywhere, so they can kind of use that to their advantage, but we'll see. That's pretty much it for WWE Aftershock. I'm really tired. I want to go to bed now. It's just been a tough day. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I'm not going to plug anything. I was just because, I don't really feel I need to. I don't want to false advertise anything either. There's going to be videos that come out. Just be on the lookout for them. Please check out the crossover, because that was something I was really passionate about. But that's pretty much it, guys. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.
Podcast has concluded. Be sure to check out more group discussion as far as WWE content is concerned, and check out more content from For the Win Productions.